Hello, welcome back to the channel. And I have to say, I am really delighted with the Watford performance I saw last night. The weather conditions were terrible. I got soaked walking back home, but I'm really glad I got to see the second half in particular. For me, that was the most professional and balanced team performance we've seen so far this season. I thought everyone out on the pitch, especially in that second half, put in a really good showing. And Watford, slowly but surely, are moving up that Sky Bet Championship table. Let's talk about the first half then, shall we? Of course, West Brom once again took the lead in this game. I'm still waiting for the clean sheet. I'm desperate for that. Maybe against Coventry this weekend it will happen. We'll have to wait and see. But they did take the lead in this game. A really good finish. I actually forget the name of the player who scored for them, but it was a great finish outside the box into the far corner. Watford giving the ball away from the back once again. I think it was Ngakia with the initial mistake, and then Matty Pollock just not quite closing down his man quick enough for me, really. And that was the story of the first half, in my opinion. Once again, Watford maybe weren't quite as aggressive from the back as I would have liked them to. There was numerous opportunities where Watford could have moved the defensive line up the pitch a lot higher than we did. I felt we were inviting the pressure at times during that first 45. But Imran Louza soon sorted that out with a wonderful finish. The touch initially to set himself up was marvellous from the loose ball, and it was a real cultured goal by Imran Louza into the far corner. It had some whip and dip on it as well in the heavy rain at Vicarage Road, and yeah, it really got the crowd going actually before half time, because my concern was really that Watford would go into the interval a goal behind, and then the crowd, obviously given what we've had to endure over the past few years, would probably quite quickly turn on the team and Javi Gracia. So for me, the priority was, going into half time with some positives to take into the second half. And that Imran Louza goal certainly set Watford up very nicely for the second 45. And look, the second half for me is where we saw the best of this Watford team. It was a real quality, professional, balanced performance, as I've mentioned already. And the substitutions, whilst at the time sitting in the stands, I had my head in my hands questioning what on earth Javi was doing. In hindsight, it worked out really well. And the big question we have to ask again is, of course, what is happening with Kwadwo Bar now? Maybe now there is something deeper going on behind the scenes, because under Tom Cleverley, Kwadwo didn't particularly start a lot of matches in the Championship. Of course, as an impact sub, he was really effective, but he didn't start loads of matches with Tom in charge. Paulo certainly opted to use him very sparingly for 5 or 10 minutes here and there. And so far, under Javi Gracia, he's not really seen much, if any, action at all. So look, I don't know what's going on with KB. I jokingly tweeted, start the movement, hashtag free bar on my social media accounts. But I am concerned about him, because the narrative with Javi, and I appreciate I'm going off on a tangent now, but the narrative with Javi previously was that he doesn't really like to use wingers, and Kwadwo Bar arguably is our most effective attacking player, especially when he's running at his fullback. So a bit concerned about KB. It's something to certainly keep an eye on. Hopefully the plan is to unleash him away at Coventry this weekend. Maybe Watford playing on the counter in that game, who knows? But yeah, something to keep an eye on certainly. But going back to the game yesterday, the substitutions that were made actually worked quite well. Tom Ince in particular is someone I want to shout out, because under Paulo he almost went missing. He was excluded from the squad, and Tom Ince, being the professional he is, I'm sure was working hard still behind the scenes in training, regardless of the minutes he got. But yesterday, he probably should have scored a goal. He had a few opportunities in good positions, actually, in my opinion. But I thought he held on to the ball really well. He was calm, composed, nice layoffs, and he glided around the pitch with relative ease. So, yeah, a massive shout out to Tom Ince yesterday on that right-hand side. I thought he had a really professional performance as he come on for Jeremy Petrie. And another substitution I want to mention as well is Mamadou Doumbia. And this was probably the most justified substitution I saw yesterday. Neşri Irankunda started the match, and of course he is our star player, if you will. You want to call him that. He is someone who can create something out of nothing. But watching Neşri yesterday, I'm going to be quite frank and honest here. I thought he was very selfish on the ball. You know, when you're in secondary school, and some of you watching may still be, and you're in kind of like a secondary school football team, and there's one guy in particular who hogs the ball constantly. It's very frustrating to watch. And with Iran Kundi yesterday, his first touch on many occasions was extremely poor. And when he did get the ball and drive at the back line, it was very much head down, drive forward. He wasn't really looking up to play any other options. And in my opinion, he was rightly substituted. Look, for Australia internationally, he still seems to be performing at a decent level. He scored against Canada in the last international break. Let's not forget that, of course. But I think for Watford, certainly in open play situations, he's been lacking lately. And for now, I'm not going to put that down to attitude or ego. I'm more going to put that down to fatigue and Neşri being overplayed. So hopefully at the weekend and in the weeks to come, we'll see better from him. But yes, certainly probably his worst Watford performance so far. So yeah, definitely a substitution that needed to happen. Did I expect it to be Mamadou Doumbia? I didn't. However, Doumbia for me put in a really good showing. Of course, like Tom Ince as well and Pierre Duomo, when Paulo was at the club, they were excluded from the Watford squad. They didn't really make the bench at all during Paulo Pezzolano's short tenure. But from what we saw towards the end of last season and from what we saw last night in the stadium, Mamadou Doumbia is a pressing machine. He is such a workhorse. He is really good and positive to watch. And technically, he might not be the cleanest player. He's not an Imran Louza, a Georgie Rabata. But in terms of his work rate, pressing, and ability to cause chaos in the opposition defence, Mamadou Doumbia offers just that. And I wouldn't be opposed to maybe seeing a front two of Luka Kiramgard and Doumbia in the near future. Because, yeah, whilst we have all these players available, we might as well experiment a little bit and see what happens. So, really pleased for Doumbia. Of course, the two Chuckle brothers come onto the pitch as well in Musa Sissoko and Edu Kayembe. And I feel that's more Javi Gracia leaning to older players in the squad who he feels could maybe see out games. Of course, Sissoko didn't get much time yesterday, but Javi Gracia choosing to use him over Kwadwo Bar nonetheless, which I feel sends a bigger message potentially. And of course, we've not yet spoke about Rocco Vata, who, if Louza didn't put in the performance he did, Rocco Vata would probably have been my man of the match. Certainly a real great showing from him over on that left-hand side. Like all of our young players, Rocco has highs and lows in his form, but yesterday was one of his better matches, constantly looking to take on his man. As soon as he gets the ball, takes a touch, his first thought is to drive forward down that byline, and as I said with Doumbia, create chaos, and Rocco Vata certainly did do that yesterday. Mark Boller initially with a great run down the left into the box, shrugging off a couple of West Brom defenders. The ball took a couple of deflections, fell into Vata's path. The crowd shouted shoot, and Rocco Vata did just that. A real powerful, low, driven finish past the goalkeeper in front of the rookery end, and Rocco Vata secured the winner for Watford yesterday. So, all in all, in conclusion, the second half was excellent. I certainly want us to continue that into the match this weekend. And look, it's going to be such a difficult test against Coventry City. It should really be the toughest test so far this season. Maybe the toughest test we'll face throughout this season. Coventry City away from home. I mean, wow, what can I say? I mean, you guys look at the table for yourselves. Their goal difference is something like plus 25. They've won nearly all their matches. They are a real force to be reckoned with under Frank Lampard. And if Watford are to get anything out of this game, what we'll have to do first is get some defensive solidity. So, yeah, we certainly can't be conceding early on like we have been so far this season, because if that happens, I doubt Watford will get anything from the game. So defensive solidity, a clean sheet is a must in my opinion, and then of course we can build from there and hopefully unleash Kwadwo Bar away from home, because Kwadwo on his day is certainly a force to be reckoned with. So let me know your thoughts on last night's match in the comments section down below, and I'm sure many of you will be heading off to Coventry as well, so let me know your score prediction for that one as well down below. I should be here doing a watch along for the game once again. It's being broadcast live on Sky Sports Plus, so please do join me for that. And also don't forget to follow us across all social platforms. We're of course here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Okay, thank you for watching and I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.